So finally, I got my Hobbii Advent calendar. It's running about a week behind schedule. No fault of Hobbii themselves. They got it into the country on time, but our wonderful postal service dropped the ball, so it took a few extra days to get to me, but it got to me. So I'm going to be sharing it with you. Now, in addition to that, I want to let you know that Hobbii has 3 Advent calendars this year. And in my estimation, they have only gotten better with the designers and the patterns that they offer in their Advent calendars. So I'm really excited. So the 3 Advent calendars they are giving us this year are going to be an Amigurumi, a crochet, and a knitting. Yeah, that all makes sense, right? But it's nice to see 3 different ones, or rather 3 different options available to us. Hi, my name is Sig. This is Crochet and Fiber, and you, of course, are always welcomed here. Don't forget to do all the things like subscribe, comment. This is a totally free way for you to help support this channel, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it when you do. Okay, so let's just get right into this calendar overview. So I'm first going to start off by giving you a quick look at who the designers are, sort of what you can kind of expect in your calendar should you purchase it, because as far as I know, they are still available, with exception to the Amigurumi calendar, which at the time of this video was already sold out. Now, that doesn't mean they won't restock. Being Hobbii, they might do that. I'm not sure if they will or they won't, but it's something you might want to pay attention to. Okay, sorry about the interruption. My puppy needed to go outside. So let me pick up where I left off. I'm going to go over each one of the calendars. We're going to look at the designer, going to look at a little bit of the designer's work, what we might be able to expect in the calendar, because after all, while I'm going to do an unboxing and a revealing of the calendar I got, we really only get a sneak peek or a little taste, a little clue as to what our project for each week of December is going to look like. Once all that's finished, I'm also going to give you a cost breakdown of everything that came in my Advent calendar, so you can kind of see and judge for yourself if the cost of this calendar is worth the value that you receive from it. So the first Advent calendar we're going to take a look at is the Crochet Advent calendar. And the designer who is representing this calendar this year is Anna-Sofia Babanica. I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. If it's not, I apologize. Now, she is the designer and the owner of Crochet Highway. Her website is crochethighway.com. Check out her work. She also has a book coming out in November. Now, I don't know if it's her first book, but I can tell you she has lots of patterns available on her website, on Ravelry, and also on Etsy. She also has some basic tutorials that you might be interested in checking out. Her main thing, or her main niche, seems to be reversible and interlocking crochet. And what she's done is she's taken this crochet technique and has worked it into garments. Now, when I saw that her niche was interlocking and reversible crochet, I was a little excited because I was in the process of making a video that's due to drop out here in the next few weeks, where I review a couple of books that actually address the issue of reversible and interlocking crochet, and I've even made a garment, a basic garment, nothing huge, just a basic garment, using some of my yarn from Sheepyshire, a indie dyer that I highlighted a few weeks ago. At any rate, you can see that if you choose her Advent calendar for crochet, you can expect a little fashion scarf for 1 week, fingerless gloves for another week, a beanie, and a cowl. Now, do we know exactly what they're going to look like? Not yet. We won't know until the actual patterns start dropping, and the first pattern will drop week 1 of December 2025, the second pattern week 2, third pattern, fourth pattern, 3 and 4 weeks into it. So those will still be a surprise, even though we kind of have a little bit of an idea on what we're looking at. Now, the next designer I'm going to highlight is a woman by the name of Jan Schenkel or Schenkel. Schenkel? Anyways, I know I've completely butchered her name. My apologies, but you will best know her as Pica Pau. She's the one who does some of my favorite amigurumis. Now, you've seen the books. Her characters are quirky, fun, whimsical. They're kind of a style all her own, and she is one of my more favorite designers in terms of amigurumi. Now, amigurumi is not really my thing, but if I were to pick an amigurumi from a book, hers would be high on my list. Now, as mentioned before, as of the taping of this video, her product is out of stock. Her advent calendar sold out like that. So quick. That just goes to show you how cool her stuff is. Now, it's hard to tell what the last two amigurumis are. I think the first one is going to be a rabbit. I think the second one is going to be a deer, I think. At least that's what the little outlines look like to me. And then the last ones, I don't really know. I'm thinking maybe an otter. I don't know, maybe a bird. I don't know. I guess we'll find out come the first week of December. At any rate, she already has several books on the market. You can find her books wherever crochet books are sold. She's fairly prolific. And as you can see, you can tell why she's fairly prolific. So I'm really excited to see her as a designer with this Hobbii Advent Calendar this year. Like I said, Hobbii seems to only get better and better with their choices, and that makes me very happy. Now, the next Advent calendar that's being offered is the Knitting Advent Calendar. And this Advent Calendar is put out by a designer by the name of Anna-Sofia Vintersol. Now, I really like her work. I was so excited to see that she was one of the designers for this year's Advent Calendar because her work, or rather her design patterns, are definitely nature-based. You can't get around that. But more than being just nature-based, they're very traditional, very storybook-esque. And that really, really appeals to me. And as a crocheter, I was a little bummed out that all she does knitting, but there is a big but, so hang on for that. Her work can be found on Ravelry. She does have books out, so anywhere where you can find knitting books, knitting pattern books, you can probably find her books there as well. So you're looking at, you know, all the big stores, the craft stores, Amazon, all these things. So you can find her patterns. She also has a website. Now, I think it's up and running. I'm not really sure. I was unable to get access to it, but I'm going to give it to you anyways, just in case it was temporarily down. And her website is just straight Anna, A-N-N-A, Sophia, S-O-F-I-A, Vintersol, VINTERSOL.com. And if I completely misspelled that, I will have it right here for you to look at written down. Okay, so her patterns are going to be a hooded cow, a shawlette, mittens, and socks. Now, I don't know what the pattern's going to be. I'm not really sure what we can expect, because sometimes, you know, Hobbie's still going to keep the yarns and the patterns simple so that you can easily complete the piece within a week. So you don't usually get pieces that are super hardcore detailed. Now, last year, we did get a mosaic, at least in the crochet one, we got this mosaic dish towels that were I liked it a lot. In fact, I still have them hanging in my kitchen, right? And those took a little bit of time. Those could be counted as maybe intermediate. I think that's about as far as it goes with the advent calendars for Hobbii. And why wouldn't it? Because, you know, it's got to be accessible to everybody, right? And we have to be able to finish these pieces pretty quickly, I think. So that I'm not mad about. It just leaves me kind of wondering what kind of patterns are going to be available for the knitting advent calendar. And why am I more concerned about the knitting calendar? It's because I ordered the knitting calendar, the knitting advent calendar, because what I want to do is I want to actually take the pattern, because I assume most of the patterns involved are going to be fairly straightforward, fairly simple, cross my fingers, and I'm going to translate them into kind of the knitted look, following the pattern as close as possible using my crochet hooks. So there are several different techniques out there. I don't know which ones I'm going to employ. It really depends on what the piece looks like. And until I can see the piece, I'm not really sure where I'm going to go with it. So check back. If you're only watching my channel just for this video, just for the Hobbii Advent Calendar, remember to check back to my channel come December, early December, first week of December, so that you can start seeing how these things work out and my thoughts and the techniques I use to take a knitted pattern and turn it into a pattern I could make with my crochet hooks. Okay, so now that we've gone through all of that, let's see what's actually in this knitted advent calendar. So I'm going to break out week 1. We're going to break down the prices. I'm going to let you know how much things go for, how much it would have cost if I had to purchase each individual piece retail. And then you tell me if you thought it was worth, you know, if the juice was worth the squeeze. So this is week 1. And the theme of the advent calendars this year is A Winter's Tale. So I'm going to go ahead. Now these bags, so we get 4 of these bags. Each one of these is basically a project bag, and each one carries that week's worth of supplies in it. And if I were to purchase bags similar to this from Hobbii, I would pay approximately $5 per bag, give or take, depending on the bag, depending on the material. This bag here, because it's a cotton polyester blend, is going to be about $5 a bag, and they have several different ones to choose from. So let's open up and see what we've got. Okay, so the first thing I've got in my bag is one of their vacuum flasks. It is a Winter's Tale theme. Let me see what we've got going on here. Okay, so I got their it's like a rusty red one last year that had, you know, your heart yarn motif. And that's nice. I use that. And now I have another one. So, okay. Now, these flasks go for about $21 on Hobbie's website if you're looking to purchase one just by itself. Let's see what's next. Oh, okay. Here we go. We've got a journal. One of those, what do they call them? A dot cross grid journal. So you can see it's just got the dots in it, a nice project book to have. Now these journals, they're going to top out at about $23. You can sometimes buy them on sale, but the journals are typically running about $23 for a Hobbii cross dot journal. Or let me try this again, dot cross grid journal. I don't think that's what they call it, but that's kind of its technical name. Okay, let's see. We've got 2 more items in here, and the next 2 items are yarn. They're wool yarn, the Peruvian wool, 100% wool. They're each 50 grams. And for your 50 grams, you're going to get approximately 175 meters. Now, they don't give you an actual name for the colorways that I can tell, but what I have here is I have a cream, and then I have kind of a dark heathered pine. They're very beautiful, and my guess is this is what is going to be used in terms of the mittens. The amount of yarn seems about right to me. Okay, so that's it for week one. Let me reach down here for week two. So we got week two. Oh, and sorry, let me back up a little bit. The yarn goes for $9.10 per skein for the Peruvian Highland wool. So we're looking at about $18.20 for the 2 skeins. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Okay, so the next thing we've got a measuring tape. We have more of these than I know what to do with. But we've got one. It's their heart shape measuring tape, so that's kind of fun. Now, this one is their higher end cost measuring tape. And so this one goes for, I believe, $14. $14. And we can see the theme here, at least for the knitting bag, is obviously this powdered blue look. For a winter's tale is what I'm guessing. Let's see, what else do we have? So we got a package of holiday tags. So that's nice. You can always use holiday tags. And then I got a package of stitch markers. 2 stitch markers, holiday stitch markers, a heart, and what looks like a little deer. Now, if you were to buy these stitch markers on their own, you're going to pay about $5. If you're going to purchase this package of 16 gift tags, you're also looking at about $5. Now, the yarn for week 2 is this cascada yarn. So you get this whole cake. Well, how much they give us. Okay, so this is a 200-gram cake, and for your 200 grams, you're going to get about 400 meters of yarn. This is a 61% cotton blend and 39% acrylic. So again, we can see that powdered blue with sort of the natural beigey tones. So I'm totally good with this colorway as well. I'm pretty pleased. Now, I'm not really sure if this is going to be used for the shawlette or the hooded cowl. It's hard to say. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what this one looks like for week 2. So next we got week 3, and we'll see what is in my week 3. Oh, first thing I see is a sock ruler. So I'm going to guess week 3 we're making the socks, right? So that's cool. Now, oh, of course, I forgot to tell you, the Cascada yarn comes out at $23 a cake retail. Okay. Now get back to our sock ruler. Okay, the sock ruler. Oh, let me see if I can remember what that was. The sock ruler goes for about $7. And this is a handy tool. I don't have one, and I'm actually pretty happy to have one, so that's okay with me. Oh, then I've got a set of holiday ribbons. Now, the holiday ribbons, it's a 3-pack, and it goes for about $8 on the Hobbii site. You can find these in their accessory section. And then the next thing I have left in this bag is the yarn. Now, the yarn is your basic Friends sock wool. And each one of these skeins is going to go for about $6. So I've got 4 of them. You can see again, we got the natural colors, this nice blue with the brown and kind of a wheat look, and then an off-white color. So these are colors that are really nice together. I'm very excited. I really like the natural tones of them. Now for your Friends sock wool, you're looking at a blend, because this is a sock yarn, of 75% wool and 25% polyamide. Now, each one of these skeins is going to be 50 grams. And for your 50 grams, you're going to get about 210 meters. So yeah, this is clearly the sock bag, the sock week. Now I'm down to week 4. Now this bag seems to be the smallest or lightest build bag. Let me see what we get in it. Okay, so they gave me a yarn holder. I have a few of these. One of these days I'm just going to have to round up all these little odds and ends and do something with them. Right now they're just kind of sitting in a collection somewhere, but you know, I'm not mad about it. And these go for about $8. Yeah, $8, that's right. On Hobbii, just your basic one. So there are other yarn stores or other yarn companies that are going to sell you this for like $24, $34, basically the same exact thing I've got in my hand, except it might have a different pattern or a different brand name lathed onto the wood. You can really get them. $8 is about as much as I would spend on one, just because, yeah, you know, unless you have one handmade by a woods craftsman, a carver or somebody. Otherwise, you know, for these pressed board yarn holders, I wouldn't spend very much money on them, handy as they are. Okay, so what's the next thing we've got in here? Oh, okay. So just a basic blunt, large-eyed yarn needle. And these go for, oh, I don't know. I'm going to say I haven't seen them sold singly on the Hobbii site. I've only ever seen them sold in pairs. So let's just say I cut it in half. And yeah, I guess we're looking at maybe $1.50. I'll double check all these prices. I'm just trying to go off of memory right now. But this, I believe, if I purchased it by itself, so I'm thinking maybe a package of 2 goes for about $3. I don't know. We'll see. But take a look here and I'll have that price updated for you. Then I've got some embroidery yarn. Now their embroidery floss goes for, I think, about $2 for a skein of embroidery floss with Hobbii. Oh, and then a pair of basic Hobbii scissors. Now, a pair of basic Hobbii scissors, it's going to run you, oh, I'm going to say about $8 or $9. So nothing too fancy, but you know, we can always use scissors. Scissors get lost so easily. See, what else do I have? Oh, okay, now I've got the yarn left. And the yarn is this Metallico. So I don't know if this is going to be used for the shawlette or if it's going to be used for the hooded cowl. It doesn't seem to me like there's really quite enough yarn for either one. I don't know. I crochet. I know I can get a little further with a knitted piece than with crocheting when we're talking yarn. So maybe, I guess we'll see. I'll have to check it out and see. But now the Metallico yarn, it's kind of a black and gold kind of a, it's definitely an air blown kind of yarn as near as I can tell. And it's about a 70% polyamide, 21% acrylic, and 9% wool. 50-gram donuts. And for my 50 grams, I'm going to get about 115 meters. Now, this is a 4-weight, but as I look at it, it seems to me to be closer to a light worsted, maybe a 3-weight is kind of closer to what I would call it. Maybe not. Maybe we're just really riding the edge on that one, riding that fence between a 3 and a 4. So anyways, basically between the two, there's going to be what, 230 meters of yarn. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like enough, but again, I won't know. I don't know which one it's for, which pattern it's going to be for. So that is going to be a mystery. Now, this yarn goes for approximately $6.70. I just looked it up because I really didn't, I had no clue. This really isn't a yarn I would purchase on my own at this time in my fiber arts journey. Just, it doesn't really resonate with me. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to think of it. So that's going to be something to look forward to, see how it works up, see what I think. And yeah. All right. So what was the total value of all of this? Well, I don't know. Give me a minute and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I'm back. I've got everything tallied. Let's go over it. So first of all, when you get one of these advent calendars, you get a card, and on the back of the card, it's going to have the QR code that you access your patterns with when they drop each week of December. Also, they sent me a cute little sheet of stickers. So for those of you who like your stationery or scrapbooking or just want something to add to your holiday tags, this is perfect little thank you. So let's get to the real reason why you sat through this entire video, and that is to see the breakdown. Now, I can't do the breakdown for the Amigurumi and not for the crochet because I don't have those advent calendars. That was just going to be too much. I mean, I've purchased several other advent calendars to kind of show through this season, but these advent calendars are from indie dyers, and so we're going to be looking at hand dyed yarns, and hopefully if things work out the way I imagine them to work out, I'll have pieces worked up with those yarns so you can see how the yarn itself worked up. Okay, so just a quick overview. The Pica Pau Amigurumi advent calendar, that went for $88, free shipping. So I'm not really sure if that was a good deal or not. I'm going to guess it was. I'm going to guess at the very least it wasn't worse than $88. Certainly the bar was lifted with the designer they used on this one, and I suspect she didn't cheat anyone or didn't go janky on any of the patterns she offered up for this advent calendar. Next, we got the Crochet Highway lady. Now, for the crochet advent calendar, that too was $123. And without having it, I don't really know, but I suspect it's going to be similar to the knitting advent calendar in terms of value. So I think we can probably get a pretty good judge of the value to cost ratio once I go through the knitting cost, the knitting advent calendar cost of things. All right. So knitting, as you would suspect, the knitting advent calendar was $123 also. And that came with free shipping, so that's always really nice. And Hobbii ships their stuff fast. So I never have any complaints with the speediness or the quickness that Hobbii actually sends their products. If things get slowed down, it's our U.S. Postal Service that is the problem, especially coming here to Alaska. It's not too terrible from my understanding for most people in the lower 48, but up here in Alaska, we have additional issues and challenges, and so sometimes that can really hold up our mail. Now, I sat down and I went through the retail value of everything and the cost of everything, and as you saw during the video, during editing of the video, I've placed the actual cost of each item as we go through it. So you already have that. Now, the retail value came out to $202.15 approximately. So if I purchased everything retail that I got in my 4 weeks of advent calendar, I would have spent just over $200. And I probably would have had to pay shipping on top of that. But I paid $123. So basically, I got approximately an $80 value, or it went over $80. Now, you may decide whether this was a good value or not, depending on how many items in this in this advent calendar were basically duplicates of things you already have. There were a few things for me, but I expected them, really. The advent calendar is for the fun of it. It's for the patterns. It's just about the holiday cheer of it. So I don't really expect to get a lot of extra value. However, I would say we got a lot of extra value. So the price of all of this doesn't even begin to account for what the patterns may or may not have cost me if I had to purchase them. Now, are they free patterns? Are they patterns that you need to pay for? You know, I don't know. That's hard to say. Each year, each designer, it's a little different. I suppose it depends on what kind of deal, what kind of contract Hobbii worked out with the designer themselves. However, I can say that if I had to purchase all of this for retail for just over $200 and I got it from Hobbii in my advent calendar for $123, shipping, free, so shipping's included, I feel like I got a really good deal. How do you feel about it? Okay, guys, that's about it. Please subscribe, watch the channel if you're interested in seeing any of my other videos. If you're only interested in checking out what kind of patterns, how they work up, how these knitted patterns work up with me using a crochet hook and using crochet knit look techniques, check me back out. Check back in December. All right, guys, bye-bye. You have a fantastic weekend.